106.7 KROQ is KROQ, and this is the Kevin and Bean Show. Ralph, I don't know that we need the vibrator.
This is how you know Sadie Allison's on the show.
A little higher, please.
This sound comes back.
Oh, you're on the wrong spot, honey.
No kidding.
All right.
She's not just a party girl, ladies and gentlemen. She holds a doctorate in human sexuality. She's a real-life doctor. Sadie Allison joins us here on the Kevin and Bean Show on KROQ right now.
Good morning.
Of course, drsadie.com or ticklekitty.com. You are the founder and kitty-in-chief of ticklekitty.com. How you been, Doc? We haven't seen you in a while.
I've been fantastic. Thank you. Been keeping busy. Been helping the world have better sex, enjoying each other.
You are
Single-handedly, or are you just giving people advice?
I've been really busy.
making the rounds. It says here on the package, you are America's pleasure coach.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
She is. She's got a whistle and a clipboard. I saw the other room with tackling dummies, making people do strange things to them. It's crazy.
Yeah,
One of the things I'm sorry, go ahead, Doc.
No, I was just going to say it's been about 12 years now.
Has
that
it
I've
really?
been doing this, and since I
Wow.
met you guys. Yeah. Can you believe
I met
that?
Sadie about 12 years ago when I was working on Playboy TV's Sexcetera. We did a story with her. We've had her on the show ever since, and now it's her fifth book. I remember when you didn't even have a book yet.
I know.
The first book was which one? Tickle Your Fancy?
Mm-hmm. Self-pleasure for women.
Woman's Guide to Self-Pleasure. And then since then, we've had Tickle His Pickle, my personal favorite. Sure. It's like a Dr. Seuss book. Ride 'em Cowgirl, Sex Positions for Better Bucking.
Sure.
Toygasms, the use of toys and novelties in your sex life. And now the brand new one is Tickle My Tush.
Okay, before we get into butt talk here,
Our new segment.
We have to be very, very careful with that one, Doctor. I'm always fascinated when we have you on because I like to think back to what you told us in the early days, which is what attracted you to this field in the first place is you felt like most people weren't enjoying their sex lives or weren't getting the most out of them. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. Back in high school, I was nicknamed the Little Dr. Ruth. I was the
Really?
I sure was, and now people don't even know who Dr. Ruth is.
Yeah, of
some of
course,
the younger
yeah.
generation. But I was the advice giver, and
Are
I
you
used
sure it's not just because you're short?
And so is
I'm
Dr.
missing
Ruth.
that
Is
accent,
what you're
though.
saying? Dr. Ruth?
But yeah, I loved helping people, and I taught women, girlfriends, how to please themselves, and they'd come back and tell me how it worked, and they've had an orgasm. And that fulfillment that I would feel got me to want to help more people, and I eventually ended up writing a book on how to self-pleasure.
Yeah.
And what is it about sexuality that is so difficult for most people to encounter honestly and openly?
Well, we're never taught how to have good sex. You know, in school they teach you, well, abstinence only now in some schools, which is, I think, horrible. But they teach you about sex education as far as your anatomy and birth control, but no one teaches you how to give pleasure and how to receive pleasure.
They don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the issue.
Especially
when you-
chicks.
Yeah, exactly. They might get out of hand.
That's right.
Those women.
Go all nuts. The illustrations in this new book, Tickle My Tush, are good.
Well, thank you.
We're having trouble with
you
this
know,
topic.
that one was a really challenging book to do because
I'm
I was
sure.
trying to, when you think about butt play, you can use certain things.
Can we even say that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know.
We're gonna
That's
have to-
about as far as we can
We're
go.
going to have
though,
to
yeah.
try to find
That's about
our
it.
parameters as we go through this conversation, but I guess we could say that.
Our company is very sensitive about the butt. I don't know what it is about it. But,
Well, it's a sensitive spot.
There you go.
Yes, it is.
Now, all right, let me just throw it out there, and I know Ralph is going to, what do you uptight me here? But what about those of us who feel that the butt has its job already, and that's maybe the one job it's great at, and you could continue to have, but that's as far as it should go. Is that a wrong way to think, Doctor?
It's not wrong. Everybody has their own preferences, and if it's just something you're not into, no one should ever be pressured to do it. However,
If I can correct you here, Doc, he is wrong. I don't mean to
You
step
go,
in.
Ralph.
I know you've got
Let's hear it.
you've got a certificate and everything, but
She's the doctor.
Bean's way wrong about this. Here's the thing, because in my opinion,
My
and
butt
again,
can't
I'm not
multitask.
being a professional, the mouth isn't technically a sex organ either. The mouth has its purpose, which is eating and drinking and breathing in and out of. It's not thought of as a sexual organ, and yet nobody thinks twice about involving
Multitasking.
that
Yeah, yeah.
part, that
Very good analogy.
that orifice into their sex play. So I say to you, Bean, you're wrong.
I don't have a comeback for that. I mean, that is an outstanding point that you make, but still stay away from my butt.
Once you read
blanket
"Tickle
policy.
My Tush" by Dr. Sadie Allison, I think you'll see things differently, especially when you watch the the pegging section. I think
I don't even want to know what pegging is, Ralph.
I think you do.
How about take a guess?
Pegging.
Pegging.
Pegging. Yeah.
Pegging's a good word.
People who have a peg leg.
It's for Paul McCartney's ex-wife.
Yes, it's so that they can be involved.
Because this isn't just for the ladies. A lot of people, and especially you see this in adult films, it seems like women are the ones who are getting the majority of the anal adventures.
That's how it seems. But nowadays, hetero men, are enjoying this with their lady partners.
Yes.
It's very popular, actually.
But
and actually,
why?
about a third of Americans have tried it. You know why? Because there are so many nerve endings back there. It's a very, very sensitive area, and when touched and caressed properly, it can feel really, really good. And you don't have to do what you're probably thinking, which is go all the way, per se. There's so many other things in between that can add to your overall sexual experience you're having.
All right, doctor, let me ask you this question then. Please move that away.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm
Now
saying.
you're on the right spot.
Yeah, right.
Let me ask you this. How great do orgasms have to be? Like, isn't the orgasms that we're already familiar with, aren't those fine?
They're fine, but why not go for more? I mean, especially if you're a thrill seeker, just to change it up sometimes. If you
Right.
can, for example, men have another pleasure spot inside, and that's the prostate gland. Mm-hmm. And that can...
Testify, sister.
Yeah. I think you could probably testify it.
Absolutely, yeah. Can't beat a good prostate
Anything that
massage.
involves spelunking, I'm not in.
Kevin, this is science.
I'm just saying.
You have to get past your bias. You and your little pal Bean have to get past your bias in this area because there are scientific facts that these are erogenous zones for heterosexual men. It's
Science.
Okay.
It's science.
Then let me ask you this on this topic, because the doctor brought up the prostate. When I had a prostate exam not long ago, it was one of the 10 blackest days of my life. I cried like a baby. Nightmares for months.
Tears of joy. Tears of joy there were.
It was
complained before.
It was so miserable. I hated it so much. Like
this is
I
the
hope I
opposite
die.
of the truth, isn't it?
I hope I die before the 10 years are up and I have to go back. So why is that a positive? Tell me that.
Well, for you, it sounds like you've got some personal
Issues.
that you might want. But that's the thing with the Tickle My Tush book is I break it down on how to do these things properly so that it's safe and that it's comfortable and pleasurable. And that's the issue is a lot of people that have tried this weren't doing it right and they get hurt or it's uncomfortable.
Right.
So if you understand that you have to warm up a lot, that you have to use lubrication because there are no lubricant glands back there, and that you need to absolutely communicate. What are you laughing at over there?
Kevin
It's
actually has some
true.
lubricant glands. He's a
He's
freak
like,
of nature.
I do.
Yeah. We have to express his glands every once in a while.
Oh,
just to-
stop it.
Look, we hear
Keep 'em
stories
healthy.
all the time from our friends who work in the emergency rooms of the hospitals in this great city of ours about people who do it wrong. People who screw it up. They don't follow your advice, and it ends up going very, very badly for them.
And Bean, you have to remember too, in a clinical setting with a doctor in a rubber glove in a room with fluorescent lights, may not be
And
the
no warm-up.
May not be the perfect setting
right.
for you to experience an experience like that.
Hey, doctors, how about a little warm-up?
Is that too
Buy
much
a
for a drink?
Like a woman going to the dentist and saying, "Well, I don't like things put in my mouth because this guy put a drill in my mouth once and it really hurt when he was drilling for a cavity." Yeah, well, it's a very different experience than something loving having
right.
in your own home.
All right, we need to take a break.
No, we don't.
We do. We need to take a break. and
We
then
have to
we'll
talk
be right
about
back.
licolingus.
We'll get to that.
Chapter 8.
Chapter 1 is enough for me. Butts up.
What's up, Doc?
We'll take a quick break and come right back. 106.7 KROQ is KROQ, and this is the Kevin and Bean Show at 25 minutes after 9 o'clock. No more questions from Beer Mug for our
Nope.
guest, Dr.
Nope.
Sadie Allison.
Ever.
Ever again.
Dr. Sadie is, that's how you follow her on Twitter, by the way, at Dr. Sadie. The website is drsadie.com or ticklekitty.com. She is our friend for many, many years here on the Kevin and Bean Show. She is a sex therapist, a doctor of sexuality, and we're talking about her new book, which is called Tickle My Tush. Now, mild to wild, won't say that word, Adventures for Every Booty is what the subtitle is, available now. Kevin and I are over here on Team Right, so we're going to let Ralphie and Dr. Sadie over there talk about their filth and see what Jesus says in the afterworld after you two are done.
Dr. Sadie, I get the sense that my friends Bean and Kevin are reticent to explore this nature of sexuality because they seem to think it has a homosexual connotation to it all.
It sounds like it. But the honest truth is you are not gay if you're a hetero man enjoying this kind of pleasure. Because it's not about the actual sexual act that you might choose to do. It's about the gender in which you do it with. So if you're with a woman, you're not gay.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
I ran into this with these fellows once when I told them the story that I had indulged a lady friend of mine who was using a sex toy on me in a way that you describe in your book. And they went,
We did freak out on that one.
They seemed to think it was a gay act. And I said, how can it possibly be gay if it's a woman who's doing it to me?
Your butt ain't made for that!
Is my answer.
And they still seem to think somehow, even though it involved a very attractive woman, that it made me gay in some way. And I say,
no wonder your behind is bleeding.
Look, to use euphemisms from your book, if I'm surfboarding and then I decide I want to go into the Freddie Flintstone or the Scoop du Jour, I got to turn around. I think
You have to turn around.
I have to get off the surfboard and then I have to come around the other side of the ocean.
I don't want the Scoop du Jour. No way.
I think you do. I think you want that more than the two-handed teepee, quite frankly.
Doctor, do you have any numbers, and please just guess if you can, about the percentage of people who include the types of things you describe in Tickle My Tush in their regular lovemaking of heterosexual couples?
About 40% of America has tried this kind of pleasure.
How many have tried it more than once? Because I bet it's smaller.
That's probably smaller.
Yeah.
But it depends
but
on
that's
that
a huge-
first
that's-
experience,
Yeah, exactly,
too,
yeah.
how well
that's
that goes.
and communication and feedback is so important.
Like, stop it, stop it, stop it.
That, yes, you have to listen to that for sure.
Okay,
because it's not like regular lovemaking. That area is completely different, and there's different rules, and you need to know what these are in order to do it safely and pleasurably. And that's what I outline in a very easy and simple way to understand in this book.
I've heard that, and you're going to balk at this, I know, but I read an article that said now more heterosexual couples regularly engage in anal adventures when it comes to their sex than homosexual couples do. That it's actually more prevalent now in the heterosexual community than it is in the homosexual community.
That's not possible.
I've
I
heard
would
that
beg
too.
to differ because if you look at
Who's the doctor here?
If you look at a lot of adult films, now heterosexual porn films, it's almost always involving anal play in some level or not.
That thing ain't got no feeling in it.
Most of the titles, and if a couple watches those together, I think they get the idea to try it out.
No.
The thing with including some kind of playback there, even just light touching, is that it enhances everything else you're doing. So you can just stop right there at the entrance and do a little bit of gentle play, and the orgasm that you're about to give that person in other ways is going to be magnified.
After a little hot darting, Kevin, I think you'll be all done. You'll be all finished, as they say here in the book.
We're almost out of time here with Dr. Sadie Allison, but what are...
No, or else yelling no.
What are guys doing wrong, Doctor, if they're trying to introduce this into the bedroom with their wife or their girlfriend, and it's just a blanket no, like
Surprise!
it's not even up for consideration.
No.
What should they be doing to kind of make it more palatable to the young lady who at this point is a no so far?
Number one is they need to understand what it is they're going to do, and that's where this book and information
You have
comes
to
in.
know what you're doing.
You have to know what you're doing. It's
All
very
right.
important. Number two is she needs to be warmed up. It's not like the other areas where you can just jump in and do it if you want. You have to be warmed up.
I don't want
get
anyone
some blood
jumping
flow.
in. I'll tell you that right now. I am against jumping in.
And you have to be very, very respectful and communicate all the way through with feedback. You know, does this feel good? Do you want me to go further? Stop, slow down. All that, you have to really communicate every step of the way.
That sounds like a lot of work, Doc.
and real quickly, I know Beer Mug's an idiot, but he did bring something up off air.
Please don't, Ralph. No, please don't. Don't revisit this.
I just think it's worth touching on, not in the way he did, but
All right,
just to
good.
mention, I think a lot of people also have hesitation when it comes to this because of cleanliness issues. They're concerned about that, or they've got fears or worries one way or the other that you know they won't be clean enough, or the partner thinks that they're going into an area that they shouldn't. And you said that it's easy to get around that. I mean,
It's
we won't
easy.
talk exactly, but just common sense stuff will take care of that for you. Right?
First of all, take a shower. People ask about enemas.
Good tip.
If you're if you're comfortable with that and you want to do it, go ahead, but it's not necessary.
Okay.
I always suggest if you're a little weary about it, you can lay down a dark towel.
Sure.
Keep some handy wipes nearby, or just hop in the shower after. And it's really not what people think.
Right.
There could be a little bit of color at some point,
Okay.
but not all the time. Not everybody.
Done.
That's very tasteful.
But here's one.
Good night, everybody. We'll be here all week.
Here's something I wanted to bring up to get people in the mood. So when you are going to do it, and he is going to approach her, I asked one of the top erotic writers in the country to write me an erotic story about butt play between two first-timers in love.
Okay.
Experimenting. And I have that on my webpage for your listeners for free.
Oh, there you go.
So that'll get you in the mood.
Give me some
Download it.
ideas.
It's super steamy and hot.
Oh,
All right, that's Dr.
Like
Sadie.
50 Shades of Brown.
Oh, no.
Sadie is spelled Sadie, by the way, for those of you who want to know.
Yes, drsadie.com. Follow her on Twitter at Dr. Sadie. And, of course, ticklekitty.com. You can buy lots of great stuff on that. Look, we survived this interview, which I really didn't have much confidence that we were going to be able to based on the topic. But, Doctor, you are the best. Thanks so much for joining us.
Did you want to bring up this?
I did.
Gift pack? This lovely Christmas
Starter
gift pack?
set.
It's a starter kit. It's called the Hot Tush Pleasure Kit. It's right on the homepage at ticklekitty.com.
Okay.
It's a special as a stocking stuffer
Yes.
sale.
Yes.
And
So
it comes...
if you have kids, you're going to get your
It comes
stocking
with
stuffed.
everything you need to get started. It comes with a bottle of Slippery Kitty lubricant, the Little Zinger butt plug, a bullet vibrator for her, because I always say, ladies, if you're going to be starting this and just experimenting, it's good to have something on your pleasure spot at the same time to balance things out. And it comes with Tickle My Tush, which tells you exactly what to do.
There you go. All right. I can't take Ralph anymore. Thank you, Dr. Sadie.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to
Thank
give you a
you.
two-handed teepee, right?